And welcome, and I'm so excited today because we get to talk with James Otis Smith. And James, congratulations on your New York Times book review. That's lovely, and that was one of the prestige spots, so awesome.
Thank you so much. It's an honor, and it's great to talk to you.
Well, great. And Black Heroes of the Wild West, this is getting so many fantastic reviews. Can you hold the book up for us so we can see it in all its glory?
Sure, I'm very excited. We have it in hard and soft cover at the same time.
Oh, that's interesting because the soft cover has a different, so that's hardcover, yeah.
Yeah, that's the hardcover, and the soft cover has the orange on this side.
That's great. Perfect for classroom libraries too, right? So
Yeah.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about how the book came to be. I think that Francoise Mauly, who is the publisher of Tune, approached you.
Well, she approached me just wondering if I had anything that I was interested in working on. And have long been a fan of the Western, and my approach to storytelling is always look for the characters that are not being talked about. So if you look at any Western, it's like, well, plenty of Americans or plenty of people in America that are not being talked about in any typical Western. You rarely see Native Americans, you rarely see Latinos, you rarely see Black people. So I have always been, I have a file on my computer where I basically just, anytime I come across a person from that time period that I'd never heard of, I just collect them. And so when we started talking, I said, well, I kind of want to do a Black Western. And I was thinking of a fictional approach, but Francois steered me towards actual people. And I think that was a better choice. Just because I think it's better to the groundwork still has to be laid on what life was like for non-white people in the old West. And I think once we have a more general understanding of what that life was like, then you can start to build the fiction on top of that.
I learned so much in reading these books. I, for one, did not realize how many African Americans were in the West. It's like a third of the people in the West.
Exactly. Yeah.
Astonishing. So thank you for lifting some of those stories up, very few stories. Now, I'd heard of Bass Reeves before because there's that wonderful picture book, but you give that context, and you also talk about Stagecoach Mary and Bob Lemons. Oh my gosh, what a horseman. So you have this file of people. Was it hard to pick who you were going to include?
Yeah, we went back and forth over who to talk about. The book, because initially it didn't have a theme, so it was more just looking at characters that might be interesting. And then eventually what I started to realize, and the reason I picked these three people, is because I liked the parallel between them and what America was going through at the time, because essentially everybody was deciding who they wanted to be, right? And America was deciding what kind of country it wanted to be. It had just been through the Civil War, and it could have gone in various directions. One thing that I don't really get to talk about a lot in this book, but I hope to in a later book, is that just after the Civil War, dozens of Black politicians were elected in the South. Like America was actually willing to do something radically different at that time. And then you have someone like Bob Lemons, who, once he gains his liberation, and he decides, like, well, he actually likes spending more time around animals than people. And all of these people are just making choices and making decisions that they were never allowed to previously, and that you wouldn't have expected. So I liked the fact that that they all sort of lived around the same time. They're all also older people, which is not something that we generally see in entertainment a lot. And they were people that were all making really hard decisions about their identity.
Something else I love about this book is the Western setting. I mean, landscape is always important, but it seems like when you're talking about Western stories, it becomes almost a character in itself. And as a as an artist and making a graphic nonfiction title, how did you go about giving us that sense of space and expansiveness of the West and these stories and these people in that space?
Well, the color. Well, I should note the color in this was done by a studio mate of mine, Frank Reynoso, and we sat next to each other and we talked all the time about the color choices. And I hope to do more with the color in future books, because I don't know if you've ever been like, I hadn't been out west until just a few years ago. And
I grew up in Utah.
Right. Okay. So one of the things that kind of blew me away was how you never knew that there were so many different kinds of rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And the sun, every 15 minutes, all the colors change and the light is completely different. And I understood.
Purple Mountains Majesties. And,
right. And I understood how, I'm sorry?
And it's a real thing. Purple mountains, they do go purple.
Right, exactly, yeah. And it was going out there was the first time where I understood how you could go out west and spend your whole life painting the same desert.
Oh yeah.
Because it's always different.
I just have to show this is one of my very favorites.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I tried to get as much of that in there as we could, because there's again, it's kind of, I'm hesitating because I don't want to present this as if I'm trying to correct something that's wrong. It's more that I just always knew that there was more than what you get in the movies and TV shows, right? Yeah. And so another example of what I mean is, if you just look at the movies and TV shows, you would think that the West is just brown. So that was another thing that I wanted to get in there, that there's just a lot of color out there, right? And I finally understood when I went to Colorado, I finally got the power of religion in a place like that, because of the sky is enormous.
Yeah.
So all of that, like that space and that color and that the majesty of it, like I it's limited because I like, the book's not that big, but I tried to get as much of that in there as I could.
Well, I think you did a beautiful job. It's something I especially just really appreciated in here. And also, oh my goodness, the research you must have done for this. I just can't even imagine. And I want to point out that yes, it is graphic nonfiction, but also so much wonderful back matter that gives more information for kids who really want to learn more, who get fascinated by the story and want to understand more about it. So tell us a little bit about that process.
Well, I have to give a lot of props to Francoise for that. She read even more books than I did, and actually said one of the reasons she was excited about this book was it was the first time she'd actually gotten interested in American history. So a lot of it was because both of us were very excited about just learning about this. One of the coolest things about my job is that I get to learn about whatever topic I'm drawing. So currently I'm working on a book written by someone else about the Constitution. So like I'm learning about the Constitution, you know? So a lot of it was just the excitement of actually learning something as you're working. And then the trick is, okay, well, we don't have a lot of primary sources for the figures. So figuring out the best way to present them without totally fictionalizing it.
Right, right. That's such an important balance. And for those who are curious why Françoise Mouly did not know American history, I'd like to point out she's French.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. There's a reason, although she's lived here for so many years. So yeah, but that's why she did not grow up hearing those stories or reading that history. But I love the fact that you're shining a light on these three figures and really celebrating them and their accomplishments. And yeah, the Reconstruction era, it's such a rich time in American history. And I can't wait to see your next book. And Robert Smalls, man, he was amazing. Anyway, so yes, so please take a chance to read Black Heroes of the Wild West. And if you are watching this with a conference, then there may even be an opportunity to win a copy. So please be sure to click on that link and register for that. And I just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your really busy day and talking with us today, James Otis Smith. And again, please make sure you check out this book, Black Heroes of the Wild West. He's got the heroes are prettier.
And I appreciate it, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I did.
All right. Well, thanks so much, and have a great day.
Thank you.